Hello, Dinner Time Nation, and welcome to another episode. This is week 3 of the YouTube era, and we're so glad that you're with us tonight. With Andrew Arnold to my right, I'm Jack Hunter. And Andrew, the top of the show is yours today. The Phillies just ended, the season just ended for them. A tough loss to the Metropolitans. Still no team that has gotten a bye in this playoff system has advanced to the championship series. Sad day, both of our MLB teams are now done.
Yeah, I don't really know where we go from here. It felt like the Phillies were the best team in baseball for the first half of the season. They had 7 All-Stars total. Basically the whole infield, couple relief pitchers, couple starters. Not even all the guys you'd even expect coming into the season. We had 2 different guys who were in real conversations to be the Cy Young. We had a guy who almost led the league in RBIs. We had a guy who was in the real conversation to be MVP had it been a more normal year, and Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge don't exist. We had one of the best bullpens in the MLB. We had some of the most walk-off wins in the MLB. We had one of the best home records in the MLB. And Jack, how much does that matter in the playoffs? Yeah. So that was just a gut-wrenching series. Jack, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have to hit the baseball? Do you have to score runs to win games?
You have to score more runs than the other team to win a baseball game.
And if you're having trouble scoring more than 1 run in a game, how many runs can your pitching give up?
Less than the other team, so zero.
Mm,
If you can only score one.
yeah. So difficult stuff there. The Phillies scored 1 run, had a good game that they came back in, then 2 runs, then 1 run. That for
Mm.
what is supposed to be top to bottom, one of the most prolific, lineups in baseball. And it looked like they didn't want to play. And Jack, when you come into a season, I'll give the Phillies their flowers. They won the division for the first time in 13 years, but the Mets had a historically bad start, and the Braves had half their roster get injured. So, congrats on winning the division. Like, if you didn't win, you didn't deserve to be anywhere near the playoffs. Um, because the Phillies were relatively healthy and just a much, much better team compared to the division for the lineups they were putting out there. When I I lost my train of thought. I'm just upset. I'm just upset. The feeling I had when Wheeler went 7 innings in the first game, they gave up like 1 hit, had like 9 Ks, and we were up 1-0 because Schwarber hit a home run at the first at bat. I was like, we're so back. October's back. Philly's back. Like, this is why I love this feeling. This is the best. Everything after that was a disaster. Castellanos walking it off was hype, but that game was not a great game either. We gave up 6 runs. It's just like I don't know where you go from here. I don't know where we go from here. We have all our guys tied up. We're basically returning the same roster. Our bullpen imploded, completely imploded. Um, like like there's no excuse. Like all these guys were here the last 2 times we did this run. Like all these guys were here. It's not new guys, and they just imploded. So and like the worst part is we're not going to know if they're going to do that again until 12 months from now, if we're even here. Like it's a terrible, terrible situation because again, we can come back in May and we can win 60% of our games in May, and we can do that in June, and we can do that in April, and it just doesn't matter. I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me, and it's not indicative of how we even do in the playoffs. So the whole next season, I'm just going to wonder how are we going to do in the playoffs because all we've done is make the World Series, then we made the NLCS, now we can just make the NLDS. We are going in the wrong direction. Like we were prematurely in the World Series for where we thought we were in the window, and all we've done is go in the wrong direction. Dude, Trey Turner is a mental midget. Like, I don't know what the heck is wrong with that guy. Like, we pay you $300 million. You can't get a hit in an elimination game? He's swinging at everything. They're throwing him 75-mile-an-hour pitches, 8 inches off the plate, and he's swinging for the fences. Alec Boehm is a mental midget, too.
Was that ball fair in the eighth inning? Was that?
Yeah, yes, that ball was fair. It went straight over the base. Like, the ref didn't even want to make a call. His hands were so cold, he just wanted to leave him in his pockets. And then he wanted to talk He wanted to talk to Bohm after that. Whatever. Bohm's a mental midget. Bryson Stott can't hit a baseball. Trey Turner sucks. We overpaid him. Bryce Harper, you're a dog. Nick Castellanos, also somehow a dog. Schwarber, dude, where the hell did you go? You hit a home run and then said, that's it for me. No more postseason. JT Realmuto was non-existent. He was non-existent. All he could do was stand there and watch a pitcher throw balls out of the zone. He couldn't get a hit to save his life. Brandon Marsh was supposed to be a good hitter. I don't know what the hell happened to that. When Cody Clemens is our answer to shake up the lineup and Edmundo Sosa is supposed to provide us a spark, and we started Weston Wilson tonight. Weston Wilson was our left field starter. Austin Hayes was our big deadline acquisition. Dud. Had like kidney or like liver issues. I don't know, dude. Lay off the Coors Lights. Like, you got to play some baseball, dude.
Oh, man. Tough go.
I don't know where the roster goes from here. Everyone just gets older. I don't know if anyone gets better. We're wasting Wheeler. We're wasting Nola. Like, we have like one good prospect. And I don't even know if we have money to sign people because we haven't signed anyone big in like 3 seasons. One of our last big signings was freaking Taijuan Walker, who's a bum. He's a bum.
All right, okay, Frank the Tank.
He's a bum. He's terrible. He had one of the historically worst ERAs in the Phillies organization ever. And when I say we haven't had big signings, obviously we had Trey Turner, huge signing. But like, he's been okay. Like, he was an all-star this year. Like, yeah, he's an April hero. But I mean, where did he go? Where did he go? I don't understand. So I don't know who we sign. I don't know if we can sign anybody. I'm tired of getting Angels players. Get Estevez off a roster. I don't want any Angels players unless they're Mike Trout or I guess Ohtani back a year ago. Don't put any Angels players on our roster. Like, we had a chance to just try to go get like Mason Miller, and we're like, nah, he has his hands a little hurt. No, he's a pretty good player. Probably could have used him. Probably could have used a bullpen. It's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know if are these guys turning back into pumpkins? Is the Cinderella run over? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what did happen. And the worst part too is still none of it actually matters that much because we still just couldn't hit a baseball. Like, that is number one concern. If we're blowing games because we scored 5 runs and we gave up 6, okay, yeah, I'm more worried about the pitching. Couldn't hit a baseball. Like, we couldn't hit a baseball. And Rob tried everything. Rob tried everything. I don't know if we need a new manager. Like, I'm not calling for that. But like, something obviously has to change. And you come into this season and you're saying over and over, we are here to win the World Series, and you lose in the divisional series? Dude, give me a break. Like, we didn't play good baseball since July. And you ask any Phillies fan, we did not play good baseball since July. You have to build momentum. You have to make those games in September matter. And it just felt like, yeah, as long as we win the division, we're fine, and then we'll turn it on in the playoffs. It doesn't work that way. Like, it felt like there was never urgency in September. It felt like we were just going to coast once we got to the All-Star break. We didn't sign anybody at the deadline worth anything. Just sucks.
Yeah, well, I'm going to table this discussion for another day, but NL East champion, out. NL Central champion, out. NL West champion, 1 game from being out. AL East champion, not out yet. The second place in the AL East was a 90-game winner, out. 92-game winner in the AL Central, 1 game from being out. AL West winner, out. Not even gotten to the championship series yet, after we had a Diamondbacks Raiders World Series last year. Like, clearly the playoff system right now is not putting the best teams in the World Series. So I would attribute, obviously you got to win games in October, and I think there's a recipe to winning games in October that some teams have figured out and some haven't. But like, it's just, the best teams aren't winning in October, and I don't think that's just a Phillies thing. So that's, yeah, we can talk about that another day because we got the show to get on too.
It's death by 1,000 cuts. It's just so painful because you tell yourself you're out of the game, and even then, Schwarber's up to the plate in the 9th inning with 2 guys on, and I'm like, this is where we tie it up. And if Trey can just get on base, I feel really good about Harper and Castellanos walking, like giving us the go-ahead runs here. And It's just you say you don't have hope, you say it's over, but you have hope, and it's so painful.
Yeah. All right, coming up on the show, time for cheesy tease time. Do we have the worst contract to ever exist?
Trey Turner.
We'll explain. And it not Trey Turner. Besides Trey Turner. All right. Andrew and I have something in common for the first time in 7 years. Tell you what it is. And then I've got a dark horse Heisman candidate that's coming from a service academy. And we've got a game of the week to get to here on dinner time. So let's get going. All right, baseball. Let's round this out. Let's move on from the Phillies. How about the Gritty Tigs, 1 game away from the ALCS, shutting out the Guard Dogs today at Comerica Park. First playoff game in 10 years for the Tigers. And it just seems like the Tigers, and I'm going to put the Padres in this camp, you put runners in scoring position, and if you want to win tight games, you put the ball in play. And I feel like these teams have just mastered that art.
I'm not going to continue to harp on the Phillies because I've already talked plenty about them. But like the biggest contrast would be the Phillies here because it's you watch when they get 2 guys on, they're all swinging for the fences. They're all just trying to be the guy. And the Phillies talk about unselfish baseball, but teams like the Tigers, they're the ones who are embodying it. Because inherently, I think there is just a little bit of selfishness. Obviously, you're trying to score the home run or whatever for the team, but there's a little bit of like, I'm going to be the guy in this moment. I'm going to do this. In reality, just a nice single extends the inning, wears the pitching down more, scores you a run, and you're still going and you build momentum. And it's that kind of baseball that wins. Like that's exactly the Padres give up a grand slam last night. What do? They just put the ball in play. They just continue to hit baseballs. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard hit balls that much. It's just consistently battering, test the defense. The harder you work, the luckier you get. It's that kind of volume type thing. So, it's what you got to do in October. Got to put the ball in play.
Well,
Gotta get on base.
Yeah, because you're gonna play close games in October, and like you're not gonna say teams are not gonna hit a home run. Like Lindor hits a home run tonight for the Mets, but you're gonna be in games that are gonna come down to save situations. You're gonna be in games that come down to 1 run, 2 run. So when you get a runner on second, nobody out, what do you do with it? When you get a runner on third in the 6th inning with 2 outs, are you able to shorten up and get a run in? And I feel like some teams are able to adjust more than others. The Padres lead the league in hits, have the lowest strikeout rate in the league, and they have an absolute tank of a bullpen too. So I feel like that's just a winning strategy. So I love San Diego right now to make it all the way to the World Series, but they do have to win and beat the Dodgers tonight. Okay, can we talk about this too? $1 billion spending this offseason for the Dodgers, and in an elimination game, they're throwing a bullpen game. Like, I'm sorry, but
Yamamoto goes down.
Dave Roberts' last game as manager for the Dodgers tonight once they lose, and they're throwing a bullpen game. I know Yamamoto went down, but like you're the Los Angeles Dodgers, you should have starting pitching available for an elimination game.
Well, they've been trying to find the starting pitching since July, and to kind of put a button on that conversation is, guess when you get the pitches that you can hit home runs off of, it's when you got guys on base and the pitcher has to put something in the zone.
Yeah,
like it's when you force the pitcher, you shrink the fucking strike the strike zone. Like that's when you can hit the home runs, and that's exactly what the situation was for the Mets tonight. You got 2 guys on. Kirkering has to throw something in, or Stevis, has to put something in the zone, and that's what it is. Like that's when you get those kind of pitches. That's when you get those kind of mistakes when you put pitchers in those spots. That's what the Padres have done. Like the Padres have
crooked numbers.
Stretched the Padres have stretched the Dodgers very much so in this series, and like you said, that bullpen's nasty. And I think I was saying it to you coming in, Jack Rose. If you can't beat this Padres team in the first 6 innings, you're going to lose the game.
Yeah, arguably 5, but I'd say definitely 6.
Definitely 5, 6, and the Padres starting pitching has been pretty lights out. Yu Darvish threw a peach the other night. I mean, they look like a wagon right now, and I said it coming in too because they have been hot. Talk about a team that was trending upwards. They would have been the most scary team to me. Coming in, if I was the Phillies, Padres were the most scary team to me.
Yeah, well, Braves figured that one out. Another thing that I wanted to mention too with this Padres thing is the Dodgers are mad at how feisty the Padres have been, which is funny coming from the Dodgers. Max Muncy, who notably told Madison Bumgarner one time to go get the ball out of the ocean after hitting a home run off of him and watching it, just said in a press conference that something as simple as a single and you see a guy throw the bat 30 feet in the air, that really gets the crowd going here. That is part of their game, trying to get under your skin and trying to have the emotion come out. trying to get you to do something that you're not normally doing. Like he was ticked off about it. So clearly the Padres have gotten under the Dodgers' skin, which makes me like it even more because if you're crying about teams being excited about being in the playoffs, we're in 2024, you can flip your bat now. It's okay. And that's coming from a guy that flipped his bat and told a pitcher to go get the ball out of the ocean. So
I mean, it's like, yeah, you're on one hand, it's like, yeah, that's stupid. We don't even care, but then you're talking about it. So,
yeah.
it's the easiest way to shut that up is to win baseball games. And like the person looks really stupid when they're on the losing end of doing that. So why don't you just hit a baseball max?
Yeah, and so Yankees Royals going on right now. It's a big one, and then Guard Dogs Tigers. So the Yankees Royals still tied at 2. Mookie hit a home run for the Dodgers, top 1, and then the Guard Dogs at Tigers. So the Guardians have a good chance of tying the series tomorrow. Bibby's going for them, but then you got Scooble lining up for Game 5 if we get there. So.
And I mean, you can just pencil in Scooble for a victory every time. I mean, it's when you can.
I mean, you never know, but he's good. He's good. He's Cy Young. He's Cy Young.
And he's not the Cy Young where it's where did it go in October? He's the Cy Young where it's like, I don't know if this guy's ever gonna give up a run.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll wrap up the baseball talk tonight as we got a few games ongoing. We got Phillies getting knocked out tonight, and we got the Guardians 1 game away from getting knocked out as well. Let's move on to veggies and certs here on Dinner Time. I want to start things off because I promised the listeners out there in Dinner Time Nation, worst contract ever. And Andrew, I want to pose a question to you. Is Deshaun Watson's 5-year, $230 million guaranteed contract the worst contract to ever exist in the history of contracts? Is that a ridiculous question?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because I'll get into a team that's in a tough spot as well. But in terms of paying a guy, it's just strange. It's strange to guarantee that amount of money for a guy who at that point had not played football in a year. And towards the end of his time in Houston was not great. On top of the continuous
sexual assault lawsuits.
I was going to say controversy to put it incredibly light. Yeah, the sexual assault lawsuits that, when there's 20 plus of them, okay, Deshaun, they're the ones lying. Okay.
Yes. Yes, he has actually settled more lawsuits than he has thrown touchdown passes for the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, it's not only do you have a guy who's bad, and not only have you guaranteed him an insane amount of money, but like everyone hates him. Like he's not even like, it's not even like, hey, come on, man, like you got this, like standing ovation for Trey Turner. Like, everyone hates him. Like there was a video that O-lineman got, like, who didn't want to have Deshaun help him off the ground. And then that clip with him and Shane Steichen when he's walking off the field on 4th down and Shane wants to go for it and Deshaun's just jogging off the field. And Shane just like almost loses his complete cool, realizes how bad it'll look, but it just like is in complete and utter disbelief. I mean, he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. And the last thing I'll say before I'll let you continue to go is there was a clip in the broadcast against the Commanders on Sunday where Greg Olson's basically saying, it doesn't matter how much you're paying guys. Like you're at the point in the season where you just got to put the best players on the field. You can't care about contracts. Like you just got to find a way to win because it's like that's where you're at. And the camera is just sitting on Jameis Winston when he's saying that. So,
wow, I think they have to bench him. They have to bench him. He's 31st out of 31st all qualified quarterbacks in QBR, 6 points behind Will Levis. Which is not something to be proud of.
That's a stray.
That's not something to be proud of. They're 1-4. They just got swamped by the Commanders. They lost to the Raiders and Giants. So it's not like the Commanders are 4-1 obviously, but Raiders and Giants, and it's not going to get better.
Can you say that first part again?
Commanders are good. They're 4-1.
Oh,
but the Raiders and the Giants are not good. No. And they have the Eagles coming up, and they have a lot of other good teams coming up on their schedule. Like they are losing the team if they keep Deshaun out there. So you can get all the stats, all that you want. I'll just tell you, they need to put Jameis in. They've got a good backup quarterback. It's not like they have Aiden O'Connell as their back. Oh wait, Aiden O'Connell starting this week for the Raiders. Jameis is one of the best backups in the league, I'd argue. And you're 1-4. You're not like 0-8. You still have a chance with the playoff system. Like you're losing the season if you keep him in. It's a sunk cost. It is a sunk cost. Put
Yeah,
Jameson.
I think the funny part is like you can maybe only argue that Joe Flacco's better than him right now, who was on the Browns roster and took him to the playoffs last year.
And they couldn't keep Joe Flacco. Why?
Because they didn't try to. Joe Flacco said on a recent interview, the only team that called him was Indianapolis, which is wild to me. Wild to me that was the only team that would call him after how he performed at the end of last season. The Browns organization, man, what happened?
We're going back to the same Browns.
It's the same old Browns. They dug themselves straight into a hole. It felt like they were out of it. You remember when this team was like Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, and Odell Beckham just lighting it up? Remember when Nick
Oh,
Chubb came in?
yeah. What happened to
So much
Baker?
talent. You remember Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year? You remember that guy?
What happened to Baker again? Is he playing quarterback somewhere?
He is.
Oh, yeah. He's actually having like a Pro Bowl level year for the Bucks now.
Yeah, he
Mm.
actually didn't just play in a playoff game last year. He won a playoff game last year. Okay, interesting.
All right,
It's
food for
like
thought.
you just look at where this organization was, and I think they do still have a good defense. I genuinely do because the Commanders, if you watch that game, like the first half, the defense disrupted the game plan a little bit for an offense that's been humming and leads the league in points. So like they disrupted the Commanders' offense a little bit. They made Jaden Daniels look uncomfortable. They had him with his most incompletions that he's had all year. So like it's not like the defense is terrible. I think they have talent. It's just the offense can't stay on the field. Deshaun took 7 sacks. There was no one was ever in it. And I feel for the defense and I feel for Myles Garrett because I do think they have some talent there and it just doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. And in the division they play in, there's no easy weeks. And it's just sad because it's like where do you go from here? I saw a take where you have to try to trade Deshaun Watson to another team and also give that other team a second rounder to take Deshaun Watson in his contract. And I don't even think that's the craziest
No,
idea.
well, that's not even good. I don't think that's gonna work. You're telling me another team is gonna trade for that nightmare and have to
Yeah,
give
that's true.
and have to like nobody's gonna pay 100 something million for a second round pick. So what you got for us? I think enough said.
Yeah, he's it's bad. You want to talk about another quarterback who's holding a franchise hostage? Aaron Rodgers has the Jets captive. He has them captive.
He
It
done it.
is it is ridiculous. The Jets thought they could be the Bucks. They thought they could bring in a Brady-esque guy. They thought they could sign the free agents, put the defense around him, and they were just going to buy a Super Bowl and they were going to ride off into the sunset with a mediocre head coach, and it was just going to be fine. And now 5 games into the season, they have fired their head coach, who like what has his opportunity been to win? I really don't know. And 2-3 is like just not the end of the world. Um, I'm not defending him, but I mean, what a year of Zach Wilson, another year of Zach Wilson, and now this. I don't really know what Mr. Salah was supposed to do. Aaron Rodgers has the team hostage. I mean, was it Jack? Jack, answer me. I'll just keep asking you questions throughout. Did Robert Salah throw 3 interceptions on Sunday?
No. Can I ask you one back? Did Robert Saleh go to Italy this summer when he was supposed to be in training camp with the team and may have established some connections with some wide receivers that may would have helped him throw less interceptions?
Hmm.
Oh.
Jack, did Robert Salah miss mandatory minicamp to go look at the Great Pyramids?
I don't believe he did. I think you're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, last question. Did Robert Salah consider running as a vice presidential candidate instead of playing football this year?
No, I think that was Aaron.
Okay, that was Aaron. That was
Yeah,
Aaron
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, right
Aaron
guy.
has this team hostage, man. Nathaniel Hackett is a puppet. Aaron Rodgers is a talented quarterback who is 5 years past his prime, who has one of the biggest egos in the whole league, is probably one of the biggest divas in the whole league. And he has this nonchalant kind of attitude that makes you think he's just a cool guy. But really, in reality, he's a coach killer. He's hard to work with. And people always want to say, Rodgers was so talented. He was the most talented quarterback of all time. Do you know how much of a problematic person you have to be the so-called most talented quarterback of all time? And you are firmly planted in the second best quarterback of just your own generation? Like
Holding
where's
it.
like listen, the hype's there. You got MVPs, cool. So does Lamar Jackson. Like it's I think the hype has to leave. The Jets are also in disarray. The Jets have overplayed their hand completely, tried to follow the Bucks blueprint. You can even argue the Rams blueprint, and it didn't work. And you know what happens when you don't end up with a Super Bowl at the end of it? You look stupid. It's a swing and a miss. It's a complete collapse. And at this point, what I don't know what you can do. You trade Aaron Rodgers for
Whatever you
whatever his
can.
value is, like send him to Miami. I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers runs the team now, so he's not going to trade himself. And it's just a sad, sad state of events for Jets fans. And we talked about the same old Browns. It's officially the same old Jets.
Hashtag same old Jets. I'd like to give a shout out to Michael Mercer watching tonight, loyal dinner time viewer. He sent us a picture of his dinner while watching dinner time. Looked like some
Oh, what's he
good
eating?
looks like some good rice from a nice rice cooker. He asked in the comments if he thought garlic bread was going to be good tonight. It looks like the garlic bread is good. Um, and for the main dish, it looks like meatballs tonight for him on dinner time.
Oh yeah, I was hearing he made some meatballs. Yeah, a little meatball rice, garlic bread, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So shout out Michael
Let's get some
Mercer.
vegetable. Let's get some
Oh,
vegetables
he
in there,
does. He
Mike.
does. He has some asparagus
Oh,
in there.
excuse me. I take it back. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, I look. I think Aaron Rodgers was once worth it. Like when he was a serious football player. I think when you start going off on this, whatever he's do, like ever since he tore his Achilles or a little bit before then, but like now it's just he's too old, not good enough, and too distracted for him to be worth it. So I agree.
He's
I think
enlightened. He's just too enlightened.
he's too enlightened for the NFL and for us. We don't deserve him.
Yeah, I think Jets fans are over Aaron Rodgers, and personally, as an NFL fan, I'm over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. All right, flip it, flip it. What can we look forward to? What's some good things going on?
Well, looking forward to real quick. I mean, Thursday Night Football back this year, man. Tomorrow we got the 49ers Seahawks. What a great game last week. We had an awesome divisional matchup. What a great win for your Falcons. A little OT win. So nothing too much more than that. But hey, Thursday Night Football looking good this year. Felt like Al Michaels, Herb Street been good in the booth. Get some more exciting games. Feel good for them. Shout out Kaylee.
Our
You
friend,
know,
friend of the
yep, our
program.
friend. Yeah, we should get her on here.
Look, I might have a connection that could maybe help us do that.
Yeah.
Always been networking.
Okay. Um, yeah, we'll get Kaylee.
She might be a little
You,
busy, but we could try.
yeah, we'll get Kaylee. We'll tell her to bring Alan Kirk. Um, yeah, you want to get Marshawn, Ryan, Andrew,
Richard, yeah, we get Richard on there
yeah,
too.
Richard.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk to our agent about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, Thursday
we
night
could.
football. Thursday night football has been great. Speaking of Thursday night football, Falcons and Commanders each above 500 after 5 weeks for the first time since 2017. That is my Zert today. We can both say right now for the first time in 7 years that both of our teams have done well through the first 5 weeks of the season. So Falcons, to add on your point, Kirk single game record 509 yards, Kirill Hodge walk off touchdown. The Falcons and the Vikings are the only teams that are 3-0 in the NFC. Who would have saw that coming? But I just want to say we talked all last year and probably the year before about how bad our football teams were, and the Commanders are 4-1 and the Falcons are 3-2. So we are fans of winning football teams now. For now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got to trade one for another. The Phillies go down, the Commanders go up. I can't be happy in too many ways,
Hey,
but
right
it's
hand
football
down,
season.
right hand down, left hand up.
Left hand up. Yeah, listen, it's October's out for baseball. This is football season. Who even cares about baseball?
It's
This is
college
football.
basketball. It's college basketball preseason.
It's got
It's
yeah,
Mac. It's Mac
it's
season.
Mac. Exactly. That's yeah, ACC Media Day is going on right now. I mean, it's college basketball season. Um, yeah, I mean, it's cool to root for winning football teams. And I think what's even more cool is rooting for competent offenses. Um, and that's something you and I haven't really had a taste of. It's
A quarterback? Having a quarterback?
like it's and just to explain it to anybody who maybe hasn't rooted for a bad team before, but historically, when quarterbacks throw the ball, I wince. Like when Commanders quarterbacks throw the ball, I hold my breath because I'm waiting for it to be a turnover. Like I'm waiting for it to go bad. I don't get excited that the ball is going downfield. I get unexcited. I'm okay with running because I see the action in front of me and I'm okay with it. I'm like, okay, please don't fumble. That's what I'm thinking. Don't just don't fumble. It's like a dog that's been beaten. Like you raise the hand, even if you're just trying to pet it, they like wince a little bit. You know what I mean? That's what it's
Yeah.
like when quarterbacks throw the ball. When Jaden throws the ball, I don't wince. When Jaden throws the ball, I get excited. And
Excited.
I get pretty happy when Jaden throws the ball. He throws interceptions. That's okay because he also throws touchdowns and he runs for touchdowns and he runs for first downs and he turns nothing into something and he gives me hope and he makes me happy. So my happiness is directly correlated to Jaden Daniels' play at the moment, and that's okay. I trust Jaden, and I'm ready to hand over my happiness to him. And it's okay. It's okay.
All's
And
right.
it's just I'm just rooting for a good team. I'm just rooting for a team that's 4-1. Haven't been 4-1 since I think 2007. I think 2007 was the year. Might have the year wrong on that, but I think it was 2007.
We'll get
And it's
stats and research on that.
yeah, we'll get them on it. It's special. It's special.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel?
Well, I feel like I winced at a lot of things over the past few years. I winced at shots of the coach late in the game. Usually that meant we were in the middle of like if there's under 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I'm wincing. At what no matter the score, the situation, I'm wincing. When the snap when the snap is hiked from the center and it's a pass play, I start wincing because the offensive line might get bull rushed. Probably will. When anybody other than Kirk Cousins has been at quarterback since Matt Ryan, I have winced when the quarterback has touched the ball. Usually, when the camera starts panning when they throw the ball, I'm expecting the other team to catch it. And to see Kirk Cousins like just zip the ball, like to see them getting first downs and like putting together drives, I think like it just changes your expectations and it makes things so great. It's like you watch bad offensive teams, and I've watched a lot of bad offensive teams the last few years. I mean, some teams I don't want to mention because I don't want to put them on the spot like that because some of them I've had some affiliations with, and your expectations are like, okay, can we put together one good drive a game? And Kirk's out there. I mean, every drive we go out there and it's just bang, 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 bang. So I really enjoyed it. It's been fun. Job's not finished, but they're in a good spot.
I mean, hey, Darnell Mooney, I know he's had a couple drops in that last game, which you don't like to see,
Oh,
but
yeah, he's good.
he looks like a good receiver. And
Yeah.
like that's what good quarterbacks do is they make bad or mediocre receivers look good.
And London,
Like
London looks good now too. And Pitts doesn't
looks
look like a
really good.
complete bust. I mean, he looks like a bust, but not a complete bust. So,
Jack, you remember when we were rooting for Desmond Ritter and Sam Howell last year?
or the year before when I was rooting for Marcus Mariota, who then quit on the team like midway through the year.
He did kind of quit. That
Not
year
kind of, he did
was
quit.
that was so I was rooting for Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke. Love Taylor, but like it's like you just don't know what you're missing until you have it, and we have it. We have it. We could both win the division this year. Like it's special. So if there's one thing, and this honestly, I've been a little scrambled brain so far in this show because I'm just emotional and upset. This makes me a little happier. Like
That's great.
Marshawn Lynch is not on Thursday Night Football. I realize that. It was 2008. That was the last time we won. I'm sorry. I'm a little off,
Marshawn's
but
everywhere though, so I just kind of thought maybe he had made an appearance at some point.
I think he actually has been on a broadcast. I think he has. Honestly, I bet he'll be on the broadcast tomorrow night when they're in Seattle. Um, actually, might be in San Francisco. I don't know where the game's being played, but regardless, he still might be there. Um, but this makes me happy. Like it's just happy stuff. It's good stuff. So feels good.
Yeah. Can I say something else that might feel good?
Yeah.
U.S. Military Academy, United States Naval Academy are both 5-0 for the first time since the 1945 season. How awesome is that? First and second place in the American. I don't know. I don't. I'm gonna have to really like look this up, but the American Championship is the week after the Army Navy game. If both of these teams are still 1-2, would they play 2 weeks in a row? I'm assuming they would. What would stop them from doing that?
I don't think anything would. I think the part that kind of stinks, which I learned today, is that the Army Navy game would be after the college football playoff decision comes out.
Oh,
So it can't
oh,
affect, like that game will not be able
yeah,
to affect the decision. So that'll already come out. So realistically, it would be the championship game could be a win and into the
Oh,
to the playoff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I don't know. It just stinks because it takes a little of the wind out of the sails of the next game, which is being played actually at Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland this year. So I was like, wow, that would be really cool to go to. That'd be like a one of a kind experience. Turns out a lot of other people feel the same way. Tickets
Oh,
are about $650 to get in, which I didn't know was a thing in Landover, Maryland. But safe to say, I would not be attending that game. Although I have more in the budget now that I don't have to go to Philly at any point this year for any sort of championship celebration. So maybe. And then it'll be in Baltimore actually the following year, so also close by. But all that to say, kind of stinks that that game is going to actually be after the playoff decision if these teams continue to trend in the way they are.
yeah. So, and you also, do you know what year the World War II ended?
In 1945?
Yes, so I looked it up on Google today. I didn't pay enough attention in history class for the years. Apparently, September 2nd, 1945, end of World War II. And 1945 was also the last season that both Army and Navy started 5-0. So something special is happening in these military academies. Athletes. Would you like to guess who's the number one quarterback in the nation when it comes to quarterback rating?
It's got to be like Jaden Milroe or Carson Beck, right?
No. It's Navy quarterback Blake Horvath, who is also second in the country with 8.56 yards per carry. So not only is he tearing it up the QB spot, but he's running, he's passing. Navy is not the Navy of old. Let me warn you. Hello. Navy this year is not just lining up under center and running the flex bun every play. They smoked Air Force. That game is always like 6-3 or 9-3. They smoked Air Force this year. They're running out of the shotgun. They're running out of the pistol. They're running end rounds. They're running triple option from the gun. They're running. They're doing everything. They're doing everything, and they're creative, and they are throwing the ball, and they are making teams look absolutely foolish. Because Navy, as Michael Mercer pointed out, I'm a Navy fan now, so I'm watching them. Navy throws the ball now. They throw the ball. They run the option, but they throw the ball.
Coolest play I saw was a highlight. They did like a fake jet sweep into an option on the edge with like tight end blocking outside, and it was
yeah. And you know that guy that ran it in is also like running track in like the Olympics or Olympic trials in the off season too. So like he's got burners and he plays wide receiver for him. So Navy,
pretty quick.
Navy has a Heisman candidate, Blake Horvath. I wish I was telling you I was kidding. They're 11th in the country, scoring almost 44 points a game. He's like single-handedly one of the most valuable players in the country. So I believe personally, I don't know if he actually will be a Heisman candidate, but he has been one of the best 5-6 players in the country, in my opinion, so far this year. So
who do they have this week? Are they bye week?
They have Charlotte, but I don't know if it's a bye this week and they play them next week or yeah, they have a bye. They have a bye. I think they have a bye and then they play Charlotte.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember seeing Army. I didn't remember seeing Navy on the slate for this week.
I mean, is it too early to say that when they host Notre Dame on October 26th at 12 o'clock that they could upset Notre Dame? I don't know.
No, not at all. I genuinely actually don't even know how Notre Dame's been doing that well since. Yeah, okay, so yeah, they've been better since that A&M game. And then following loss to Northern Illinois. I mean, well, we can get into the broader college football conversation in a minute, but you remember when they lost to Northern Illinois and now they're ranked 11? I mean, crazy stuff. So,
ooh, yeah.
Very big upset spot for sure. And the teams like Army and Navy, part of what makes them challenging when they do have athletes and when they do have playmakers is you're not game planning for them like you are most other teams. Like you have to simulate throughout the practice week. You have to get guys to simulate their offense, which is different than most offenses. And then you have to tailor your defense to read different keys on the offense than they're used to reading. You're reading the tight ends entirely differently. You're reading the pre-snap motion by the running backs, by the wide receivers. You're looking at that completely differently for the type of offensive sets they're running. So it's not an easy preparation week. And when you get into the 5th, 6th, 7th week of the season, some of those long prep weeks can be tough. You know, it's tough to really re-engage back in on your preparation. And teams like Navy and Army are, they have guys who can really make you pay for it more this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. Army's got a sick quarterback too. Carson Daly, I think is his name. He's a young man that's got a bright future, as they all do. Also, Mercer's head coach is now Navy's offensive coordinator. So shout out to SoCon for producing this offense this year.
Let's go SoCon.
All right, parity. There's parity in college football, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, it's I kind of touched on it a second ago. You could lose games this year, and I feel happy that I think I'm on the right side of history for this when I said that um, I'm not a huge fan of conference realignment, but I did say the expanded playoff would be good for college football, and I think I was very adamant in that, and that it would still like the regular season is. Are you having fun watching this regular season of college football, Jack?
I am. Yeah, it's been fun. I feel like it's been for a lot. I like the scheduling. Like the conference realignment has provided some great scheduling. But
That's
then
true, and
also the fear of not having to like lose a game your season's over has been good too.
so I what I think is cool is I think we're really starting to see the talent pools kind of change a little bit, which is interesting because on one hand you're saying, oh man, all the top schools are getting all the top guys. Yes and no, because also the top schools, the Alabamas and Georgias, the guys who would normally have to sit 2 years but are just kind of hidden talent at that school, they're going to a different school to play. Like they're going to play right away. So that's where your Missouris, your Vanderbilts, your Kentuckys, it's these teams, Boise State, you're getting these teams who have these really talented guys, and there's more just talent on the field because, yeah, maybe they're going to leave next year, but yeah, Boise State's ranked right now. So I understand the longevity play. It's tough, and the transfer portal people leave a lot, and the loyalty sucks, and it's tough to not be able to like root for players. But in terms of just wanting to watch good college football games, there's more talent on the field than there ever has been, and
Yeah.
I feel very confident in that. And it's manifesting itself in the parity, like we talked about. So Tennessee goes down to Arkansas. Vanderbilt defeats Alabama. Goalposts in the river. Something about Tennessee. Just a fun, a cool tradition, I guess. Like, yeah, now when you upset a big team or something, big win, goalposts go in the river. There's a river in the town. Could you imagine some goalposts in the Maury, Jack, down in Lexington, Virginia?
It wouldn't have been the dirtiest thing that has been in that river.
There you go. I mean, cool stuff. So, I mean, you're getting parity week in and week out. You never know. Georgia's a one-loss team. They're fifth in the nation right now. Notre Dame lost to a non-power four school. They're 11th in the nation right now. Clemson, dark horse, get blown out their first game of the year. They're climbing because they look really good. It's no one's ever out of it now. And I would be surprised if at the end of the year there's four undefeated teams. I'd be
No,
really
there's not going
surprised.
to be. Like who? Who's going to be undefeated?
Texas is one name that you think maybe could.
Maybe Oregon or
Um,
Ohio State. One
I
of them's got to lose this
I was gonna say,
weekend.
yeah, one of them has to lose. So, it's like I guess mathematically it might not even be possible for there to be that many undefeated Power Four teams. But regardless, like it's just cool. Like you're just seeing a ton of parity. And I'm excited for the 12 team playoff because it really does feel like I think coming in, a lot of people were concerned that there was going to be these blowout games, and it's like maybe not. Like maybe it is a little more any given Saturday now. So I think it's really exciting. I think it's one of the most exciting college football seasons I can remember. And I think it's some of the closest I've really followed all these teams because again, any given week, like you got some exciting teams top to bottom. Like you got your UNLV, Boise State, Army, Navy, like the guys outside of the Group of
Indiana,
Five. Indiana
bowl
being crazy.
eligible. Yeah.
Indiana out here saying, I win, Google me. Like, it's sick stuff. And even at the top, man, it's crazy. It's just a really exciting season.
Yeah, I think it fits definitely this year. I think in previous years, obviously you don't want to take the playoff system from how it is now back, but I think previous years like Georgia or Alabama like definitely the best. But now it's like okay, I would say Texas, Ohio State, and Oregon are kind of in that class one, and then
I don't know if Ohio State and Oregon are. I'll just say
I would say Texas. I would say Texas is the best team in the country, and then I would say Ohio State and Oregon both undefeated. They're in the top three, and then it's like Georgia and Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss. Whoever else you want to put in there. So it's like, but it's just blended more. Like there's not. If I would have an issue if there was one or two really elite teams, and we had a 12-team playoff, and it's just like, why are we wasting everybody's time? Let's just put a 14 playoff in there. But I genuinely feel like this year there are like a lot of teams that you could say like, okay, well, like they deserve to be in. So I like it this year. Speaking of Tennessee lost to Arkansas. Georgia and Alabama are hoping that Tennessee falls off. Hoping that Tennessee falls off because Nico did not have a good game for Tennessee, and Georgia and Alabama are both looking now with one loss and need to beat Tennessee, right? Because Georgia's got a lot of upcoming games on the schedule: Ole Miss, Texas, Tennessee, right? If Tennessee and Nico cannot figure it out. I mean, Alabama's got them the 19th. Georgia's got them November 16th. If they can't figure it out and Georgia and Alabama can walk all over them, like that is going to take a big breath of relief for both these teams.
And that's where it's like I just don't even know. Because I think that's another exciting part about this year is we know what Texas is. We know they're good. I don't know, like I'm interested to see how Ohio State and Oregon clash with each other because
Yeah.
both of them have had trouble with not good teams early in the season. We don't really know how good Georgia is or not. We don't really know how good Alabama is or not. Is it just the one game? Is it just one bad half of football? Is it indicative of something bigger? We don't know. I don't think we know. We don't know how good Clemson is because they got whomped by Georgia, but then have looked like world beaters since, but haven't played the toughest teams either. So, okay, how good is Clemson really? How good is Penn State really?
Penn
Their
State's
hardest
number
matchup this year,
4. Penn State's number 4 in the country now.
right? Their hardest matchup this year was Illinois at home. Okay, Illinois is a tough team, but you do get them at home. Like, okay, is USC tough? USC looked good at the start of the year. Who knows? We just don't know. We have LSU and Ole Miss, two teams that are they good or not? I think we're gonna know a lot more about the college football landscape after this weekend. But I think what's exciting right now is really outside of Texas. I mean, ranks 2 through 10. I don't know how to discern from some of these teams, and ranks 10 through 20 even more so. So it's some pretty fun stuff.
A season like no other. Vandy was 0-60 against AP top 25 teams leading into that game. They had the ball for over 42 minutes of the clock, so it was about 42-18 in the possession clock. Beat Alabama 40-35 after getting up 13-0. They had a 23-21 lead in on 4th and 1 through a 36-yard pass to the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, it was a Johnny Manziel type game from Diego Pavia. So shout out to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's another team, too, that they have a lot of really competitive games left on their schedule. If they find a way to do something over the last few games, they could fire some coaches. They could, really wreck things. So I'm just saying, that's just another, the SEC, just there's no breaks in the SEC. No breaks. Maybe Mississippi State's one.
Mississippi State, maybe Florida. But, yeah, I mean, Kentucky gave Georgia a run for their money. You got Arkansas showing up. Auburn can be a little tough. Obviously Vandy proved themselves. I mean, yeah, how about Pavia after the game too? Just what an electric, post-game interview. Dude is so happy. He doesn't even know where he is, just dropping F-bombs on national television, just running around, control room. I'm sure is freaking out because they didn't get the dump button fast enough. I mean, it was just chaos, absolute chaos. And what an awesome field story. Probably the most worth 100K that's ever been spent by a school because I mean, the applications at Vanderbilt have to go up after that because
their acceptance rate is going to go. If it's already
weirdly, and I don't know how true this is or not, but I think weirdly people kind of forget Vanderbilt's actually in Nashville too. Like you kind of think of them almost as separate entities just because of how, like the type of school Vanderbilt is versus like the type of reputation Nashville has as a town. Like you got to think there's tons of kids who are like, oh yeah, I'm going to apply there now. Like why wouldn't I want to go to school in Nashville?
Yeah, a lot more kids they can reject too. Hard to get in.
That's true.
It's personal. Anyway.
Oh yeah?
No, it's not. Preemptively decided not to apply.
Yeah.
Let's get into our dinner time.
They didn't reject you. You rejected them.
Yeah. Let's get that straight. Let's get into our dinner time game of the week. Kind of mentioned it. We got number 2 Ohio State traveling west to Eugene to face off against number 3 Oregon. Ohio State is now a 3-point favorite. They opened up at 3.5. Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Ohio State's coming off a 35-7 win over Iowa. They lead the country. Average margin of victory, 39.2 points is their average win. Oregon beat Michigan State last week, 31-10. Struggled a little bit in their first 2 games, but have really figured it out since then. They are beating opponents by 20 points a game. My lean on this is I think Oregon is going to win this game. Right, so Ohio State has lost 4 straight games versus top 3 opponents. They've got a little can't win the big game disorder. Traveling west across multiple time zones to an unfamiliar environment at Eugene, which is going to be a rocking crowd, I think is going to be something that is going to throw them off. And I think this is going to be a tight game. And I think when it comes to a tight game, I'm going to trust the home team. I'm going to trust a team that I know has a legitimate quarterback. I don't know what Will Howard is for Ohio State yet. Is he another Kyle McCord or is he an elite quarterback for him? I don't know. And also, I'm concerned about Ohio State's offensive line versus Oregon's front seven. But I think it's going to be a close game. But I think since Oregon's getting 3 points, I think Oregon's going to win outright. I think they're going to win by 3 points. So I'm taking Oregon in this game.
Yeah, I'm actually on the same side of this as you. I like Oregon as well.
Dude, you're
And
supposed
I
to take the
think,
other side for the ratings, bro.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay,
We're going to
okay.
be, yeah, throw up the graphics so then we can be on, freezing cold takes or something. It's when you have home underdogs, that always feels good catching the points at home. Let's run through Ohio State's schedule right here. Beat Iowa 35-7, good win. Okay. They don't really have an offense, but yeah, good win. 38-7 win over Michigan State. Okay. First and only road game for them, by the way. Marshall 49-14, Western Michigan 56-0, Akron 52-6. They haven't played anybody, man. They haven't been tested, you know? And it's even you look at Oregon's schedule and they had that close game versus Boise. Well, yeah, that looks a lot better now that Boise's actually ranked and turns out it is a good team this year. But I don't even care as much about the quality of team as I do the fact that they've been gut checked a little bit. They have felt like what it is to almost lose. And I like that a lot out of a team a little better because you already have had that come to Jesus moment as a team. You've already had that, hey, we lose this, we're in big trouble. Hey, we got to take this serious, we got to lock in. Like, hey, coach, it's on us kind of thing. I'm joking, but it's I like a team that's already been a little tested, and I like them at home, and I like Dylan Gabriel a lot. I think he's a very good quarterback. Feels like a team that's taking a step forward every single week. And if there's nothing about this Ohio State team that makes me think they are that much different than anyone else, because all I hear is they're the most talented team in college football. Okay, but they haven't played anybody. Like they haven't played anybody. So if Ryan Day and Ohio State and Will Howard they go out there and prove it, so be it. I'll be wrong. But as it stands right now, I definitely like the Ducks.
Game of the week consensus pick. That is trouble. If you've listened to us for a while, you know whenever
Consensus
we're on the
picks are
same
trouble.
page, it's trouble. But yeah, I think it'll be Oregon winning by 3. I think it's gonna be a close game because I think talent wise they're matched, but I think just few factors I like on Oregon's side. All right, final segment of the show. We do 2 picks every week. We got a college pick and an NFL pick separate from the game of the week. Last week, to get you into some of our picks, I had Vikings -2.5 which hit, and Cuse +6.5 versus UNLV that hit. Andrew, you also had a nice week too.
Yeah, a little 2-0 as well. I don't know what that makes my overall record. Is that 6-1? Because I think I just missed on the bonus pick. Did I miss anything else? I don't know. I have to
Don't think
look.
so.
Anyways, Clemson -15.5. That was easy. Clemson, I think they're just a criminally underrated team at the moment. I think everyone remembers their primetime game versus Georgia the first week of the year. Every single week they've gotten better. Every single week they've covered since then. I think they're a really good football team, and I really like their quarterback, and it feels like Dabo's really building something down there in South Carolina. My pick on the pro side, didn't see anything that jumped out to me this week. I love the Commanders last week. There was nothing that jumped out to me, but I did see the notification. Drake May's getting the start for the New England Patriots. That dude has a negative offensive line. Jack, I'll ask another question to continue the theme. What do you think is going to happen when a rookie quarterback has a bad offensive line?
Oh, and don't the Texans rush the quarterback really well too?
Yeah, they rush him
Probably
pretty well.
not. Probably not good.
Probably not good. Probably some interceptions. Yeah, there's no Nico Collins, but the Texans have one of the most talented wide receiving corps regardless, so much so they cut a Noah Brown, who's a dog now on the Commanders. Anyway, side note, I think the Texans are going to roll the Patriots in this game. I don't really see any reason why the Patriots should be optimistic. I hope Drake May doesn't die, and I hope he doesn't get hurt because I would feel bad for the guy. Genuinely would just feel bad for the guy. But in your first ever start as an NFL quarterback with an offensive line that's terrible, with a running game that comes and goes, with a wide receiving core that not great, and a defense that is not that special either. So much so that you got blown out by the Jets, who are pretty mediocre. I think this is a 14-point victory at least for the Texans. I don't think it's close. Yeah, no Nico's one thing, but you still got Diggs, you still got a couple other weapons there. Cam Akers, who's actually being surprisingly pretty good in Joe Mixon's absence. I think CJ Stroud's going to take care of business, and I think Drake May is going to have a pretty tough welcome to the NFL.
Yeah. All right. I'm taking Penn State -5.5 at Southern Cal. I know I just told you the trip out west is going to be tough, and Penn State's trip is going to be tougher given that they can't fly out of state college. But I think that Penn State would win by 2 touchdowns on a neutral field. So I'll take 5.5 because I'll say they win by a touchdown. I think Penn State up front defensively really good. They're number 4 in the country and allowing just 11 points a game, allowing just 4 yards per play. Offensively, the talent is there. Like Drew Aller, good quarterback. Singleton, great running back. Allen, another good running back. James Franklin can win against every other team not named Michigan and Ohio State. Southern Cal, I don't think is a Michigan or Ohio State. Not yet. So I'm taking Penn State to win there. And then in the National Football League this week, let's see. Gotta get the pick up here. Did I send you a pick? Yes, I did. Eagles -9 versus the Cleveland Browns. Sorry. I forgot that I was picking against Deshaun Watson this week. Until Deshaun Watson is the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, I think I'll be picking against them. The Eagles, yes, Sirianni's probably about to get fired soon. And yes, they are really struggling. But coming off of a bye, they should get A.J. Brown back. If there's a week for them to figure it out, it's this week because the Browns stink with Deshaun Watson. I think they should win by 2 touchdowns.
I agree. Get healthy, get right week. I think the Jets opened the door for firing the coaches, so the Eagles won't have to be the first team to do it. So I think Sirianni's got that leash till November, like I mentioned a show ago. But yeah, I think this is a good get right spot. Right off the bye, Browns just got whomped. Vibes couldn't be lower. Like this is a team. If the Eagles are going to get back on track this season, and I don't think that's a huge if, because I think they will. They're gonna whomp them in this game. So both rooting for some blowouts here on the NFL side. Both got a little bit of some got a smaller spread for you on the college side. So some interesting stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for our dinner time show tonight. Phillies lose, but it's okay because dinner time is here to console Andrew. Baseball in full swing right now. We should have some good games heading into the end of the week. Royals runners on the corners, 2 outs right now, down 1, and then the Dodgers up 3-0 right now. That's the update here on dinner time. That's where we'll leave you tonight, Andrew.
Oh, wait, Jack.
Yeah.
Sorry, my college pick is Illinois -19.5. I'm realizing I didn't say my college pick. I was trying to think of what I compared yours to. Illinois -19.5.
All right. Well, a good thing you sent that in there.
Yeah, I'll slide that in there. 4-1 against the spread this year. Only didn't cover by half a point in one game. They're at home off a bye. Purdue sucks. Illinois -19.5.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week here on Dinner Time. Thanks, Christopher and Michael and all the other dinner